Judy Train with CTV News. Prime Minister, if I could just ask for your clarification. You said that you told Doug Ford that he shouldn't air the ad.
What's up, you guys, and welcome back. My name's Natasha, and this is Behavior Breakdowns. Today, we are taking a look at Prime Minister Mark Carney. Now, we have covered Mark Carney before on the channel, and in our last breakdown, we debunked some of the things people were saying on X, which was that every time Mark Carney is about to tell a lie, he scratches his nose or touches his face. Now, just as a reminder, there is no single indicator of deception. There is no single behavior or gesture that is ever going to indicate somebody is telling a lie or somebody is being deceptive. We have to look for clusters of change. We have to look for deviation from somebody's baseline, and we have to look for the ways in which stress rises in the body and shows itself through body language. So let's take a look at some of Mark Carney's body language and behavior as he responds to some questions from the press.
We'll do one question and one follow-up. Une question suivie. First question.
Hi, Prime Minister. Mackenzie Gray with Global News. Did you apologize to Donald Trump about Ontario's anti-tariff ad?
I did. I did apologize to the president. The president was offended by the act, or by the ad, rather. And it's not something I would have done, which is to put in place that advertisement, and so I apologize to him.
So we have a classic politician behavior here, which is filing some papers on the desk. No better time to do your paperwork than when you're speaking to the press. It's an excellent opportunity to rearrange your papers. But we know that this is a stress response. We know that this is a way some people adapt to nervous energy. When our bodies are feeling nervous or under stress, we often look for things to do with the hands to keep ourselves occupied. And one of them is filing papers. It might be some self-soothing gestures or some pacifying behaviors, any type of repetitive motion, which can help calm the nervous system down. We also have that face touch that people were talking about on X several months ago, that every time Mark Carney's about to tell a lie, he touches his face. We know that's not true. Now, when we have a self-touch behavior, even something simple as touching the face, it helps release oxytocin in the body, which helps to calm the nervous system down. So we see that brief gesture there. So we also have a lot of filler words here, which is those ums and ahs that we hear.
I did apologize to the president. The president was offended by the act, or by the ad, rather.
When Mark Carney is unprepared for a statement or a question being asked, you will hear an increase in the ums and ahs that he says. Those ums and ahs help to buy a bit of time so that Mark Carney can help formulate his sentence a little bit more cohesively.
I'm the one, in English, I'm the one who is responsible in my role as Prime Minister for the relationship with the President of the United States, and the federal government is responsible for the foreign relationship with the U.S. government. So things happen, we take the good with the bad, and I apologize to him.
I think that it's super important for us to hold our leadership and the people that are in charge of our country to a really high degree, and to be absolutely critical of them, regardless of where you land on the political spectrum. If you're left, if you're right, these are the people that are supposed to be representing us. And so they need to be reflecting our interests. They need to be held accountable for the things that they say they're going to do. This feels like there isn't a lot of accountability from our politicians. Now, Mark Carney isn't directly responsible for this ad. This is more on Doug Ford. However, Mark Carney is the leader of our country, and as he said himself, responsible for the relationship between Canada and the US. Mark Carney does touch the chest when he says Prime Minister, and we see his hand go towards his chest, indicating that this is coming from him, this is coming from the heart. So that is a positive thing to see. But we are about to see some change happening here on Mark Carney's face after the next comment from the press.
That he viewed the ad with you in advance of it going to air. Since you're the person that's solely responsible for negotiations, did you inform Mr. Ford that this is something that you did not want to go forward with?
Yes.
And what of that?
Well, you saw what came of it.
Do see some contempt. Now, I've been talking about contempt a lot on the channel because I think it's a very important gesture to understand and to be able to spot. Paul Ekman is a renowned researcher and he studied contempt. He studied 79 different couples over the course of 14 years, and he found that when he saw contempt in the early stages of a relationship from one partner or the other, that it was one of the best indicators of divorce. Contempt is one of the emotions that does not go away on its own. If it's left unaddressed, it actually festers underneath the surface and causes things like anger and resentment, which only continue to build over time. It's a super important gesture for us to be able to spot both in our personal relationships and our professional relationships. So we see that contempt come across Carney's face. The corner of the mouth raises. Contempt usually indicates a feeling of disgust or anger or a sense of superiority over somebody else's thoughts or ideas.
With you in advance of it going to air.
And we see him actually do a eye block gesture there. It's very brief, but he closes his eyes to sort of block out that information. People eye block when they no longer want to be a part of a conversation. If they're hearing or seeing something that they don't want to ingest, they will use their eyelids as a barrier to block out that information. So we see the eye block and we see contempt around that question as Mark Carney responds, saying that yes, he did view the ad, and in fact he did tell Ford not to go forward with it. I do appreciate here that Mark Carney gives us a straight answer and simply says, I did say that, and he holds his gaze. He doesn't feel the need to fill the space with more verbatim.
Judy Train with CTV News. Prime Minister, if I could just ask for your clarification. You said that you told Doug Ford that he shouldn't air the ad. My question then, the fact that Premier Ford went ahead with the ad, the fact that the Premier of BC wants to put out an ad, the fact that the Premier of Manitoba, Wab Kinew, supports Doug Ford's ad, does this show that there is division within Team Canada, that the premiers don't trust you to negotiate?
I think there is, the individuals can speak for themselves, and they're practiced in speaking to themselves, and they will speak for themselves. There are other premiers who have different view in terms of the utility of those ads, and you can speak to them.
So we actually see so much happening here in such a short amount of time. We have Carney picking up the pen on the desk, finding something to do with his hands to help relieve some stress. We see the look down for the mouse under the podium. Some of you had commented about that in the last video of Mark Carney. Politicians and public speakers often look down, looking for that. Where is that mouse under there? We see him look down. That can be a way to help break that eye contact and to find somewhere else to look temporarily, to give himself a moment to collect his composure. You can actually see the moment that Carney realizes what question is about to be asked, and that this is going to be another question about Doug Ford and the ad. We see the corner of the mouth actually drop down there. It's almost like a bit of uncertainty. It goes, and we see Carney start to laugh, breaking some of that tension for himself. And then we also see a tongue jut. Now, tongue jutting is around the idea of distaste. In my mind, I also call this the lizard, because people start to look a little bit like a lizard when their tongue comes out like that. And a lot of us do this. This is actually a body language gesture that we adopt in infancy. As infants, when we no longer wish to be fed, when we no longer longer want the bottle or the nipple, we push it away with our tongue. It's how we learn to reject food. So we see that same behavior carry into adulthood. And when there's an idea or a question or a conversation taking place that somebody feels some distaste towards or that they want to reject and push away, we will see that tongue pop out the way that it does here for Carney. It's not to be confused with a lip lick, which is a different gesture and carries a different connotation. So watch for that tongue jut. It's pretty easy to catch once you learn to look out for it.
We start from this position, which it does bear remembering that we are in a position where 85% of our trade is tariff-free. We, like every other country in the world, okay? Every other country in the world has issues if they produce any of the following: steel, aluminum, automobiles, pharmaceuticals, forest products, with 232, so-called 232 tariffs in the United States.
So we have a bit more of a standard politician response here, which is to start by answering a question and then take us as the audience down a long-winded path where all of this additional information starts to come in. Our minds are bombarded with this additional information, and the speaker is hoping that we will latch on to one of those pieces of information and be able to be redirected away from that original question. Suddenly we're talking about the budget, and we're talking about tariffs, and we're talking about new partnerships. These are all different from the original question that was asked, which was around the trust that the leaders have in Mark Carney to negotiate. But now we are talking about other things. He's dropping out these points to help us latch on to something else and to redirect the conversation to talking about something other than that original question. We do see some congruency here with Mark Carney's gestures. That's when his body language will be in alignment with the words that he says.
Steel, aluminum, automobiles, pharmaceuticals, forest products.
So we see congruency when the body language matches the words that he says. And if you see a lack of congruency, that can also be an indicator that there might be some deception involved.
With respect, Prime Minister, the United States makes up more than 75% of our trade.
I'm well aware of that. Yeah.
Yes. You apologized to Donald Trump. He's not going back to the table. He has no interest. So what are you doing? What is your next move, or are you close to striking out?
Very clever. No, I just fouled one off. The count is full, but we're battling like the Jays. Look, the next move is on Tuesday. The next move is the budget. Is the budget for this time.
So Carney interrupts there and clarifies that he is aware of that information. Now, whether or not that comment was necessary from him, I'll leave that up to you to decide. And we also see the eyebrows raise a lot. Eyebrows can raise for a number of different reasons. Sometimes it can be around surprise or disbelief, but it's often around social connection or social approval. When we're looking to connect with somebody, we'll raise our eyebrows. When we're hoping that somebody is understanding our ideas or understanding what we're communicating, we will sometimes raise our eyebrows. So we see some of that from Carney there.
The budget the country needs, the budget that gives us control. See, this is one of the things. We can spend our time watching Truth Social, worrying about the reactions of individual things. We are staying calm, okay? We're focusing on what we can control, which first and foremost is how we build at home. And secondly, with our negotiations with the U.S., when they're on, when they come back on, is what's in the best interests of Canada.
We see some gesturing here. We are staying calm, and he does a palms down gesture. Palms down approach is a good way to gain control back. So we see that we are staying calm. It's basically a suppressing gesture. Sit down, calm down. bring the room down. And we see that from him, but we also hear a loss of fluency. Carney doesn't really finish his sentence. It kind of trails off.
Worrying about the reactions of individual things.
And overall, this is not a great statement for him. I think he was really struggling to find the words and articulate what he wanted to say, and it just didn't land. It just didn't come out the way that he had intended. We hear that loss of fluency, and he kind of struggles to piece together the rest of his statement.
You told Canadians that China was the biggest security threat to this country and to Canadians. Do you still believe that to be the case?
I think we have to manage all our threats. There are a number of threats from a country mentioned, Russia. We've non-state actor threats, which are material. I guess, one of the advantages of having your security clearance is you're better informed about some of the threats, and I highly recommend that anyone either in the position of responsibility or seeking it has their security clearance. So I have a richer sense of the tapestries of threats that face our country. And I'll tell you one thing, if I may, and I'll hand back after this, which is what that does, it just hardens the resolve of the government to protect Canadians and to take a variety of measures that we are taking to protect Canadians.
Carney mentions having a security clearance, which is a shot, obviously, at Poilievre, and he mentions having a richer and broader understanding of the tapestries, I believe is the word he used, of the threats to our nation. However, it was Carney who said that China was the biggest security threat, and he said that during the federal leaders debate. So having a greater partnership with China versus the US at this point in time maybe feels a touch ironic to some people, but we do hear a spike in the ums and ahs that Carney says in that section.
Threats, there are a number of threats from a country mentioned, Russia.
Now, as I said before, when Carney feels unprepared for a statement or to answer a question off the top of his head, we will hear a spike in the ums and ahs that he says. Now, we do see some eyebrow raising here again, seeking that social connection, seeking to bond with the reporter and the audience. Are you understanding what I'm saying? We see the eyebrows go up and the lines come across Carney's face as he's talking about security for our nation.
Prime Minister Brian Platt with Bloomberg. Last year, your predecessor put tariffs on, pretty steep tariffs on 3 Chinese products, essentially, steel, aluminum, electric vehicles. The readout after your meeting yesterday said you discussed solutions to some of these irritants. It did not say steel and aluminum. It did say electric vehicles. So should we take that to mean steel and aluminum are off the table here, but Canada's tariffs on EVs, that is something you're willing to look at and revisit?
The way I would frame it, and it's early days, so I don't want to get too far ahead. There are questions about where our cooperation is in energy.
It's almost as if in this moment, Mark Carney receives some information that suddenly clicks. We see his eyes go up there. It's almost as if this is something perhaps he hadn't thought about, and the mouth does come together there. We also see those eyebrows raised again. We do see some mouth grooming here as well. The tongue pokes around in the mouth. This can be another way to help relieve some stress. I think I'll end the video here because I don't want it to get too repetitive in terms of the type of body language and behavior that we're seeing here. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Has Mark Carney's body language improved since he became Prime Minister? Are we seeing more congruency with his body language and behavior, or are we starting to see more signs of contempt and resentment leaking out as he answers these questions from the press? Now, this was quite a long video to cover. I didn't cover the whole thing because I didn't want it to get too repetitive in what I was saying and seeing. By the time this video comes out, Carney will have dropped the budget, and I'm sure there will be a lot more to cover of him in the future. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye! Just a quick thank you to the people that have become members. If you're looking for a way to help support the channel and to be a part of the Behavior Breakdowns community, then check out the join button down below. It gives you access to exclusive perks and behind the scenes content, as well as some interactive components based on whatever tier you decide. You can always cancel the membership at any time, but it is a super easy and fun way to support the channel. So thank you to the people that have become members.